So since software is simply a language, let me share with you how the Avada theme thinks, what it expects from you. Therefore, it makes the learning process so much more enjoyable. All right, so the first thing we're going to do before we build any pages is we're going to take advantage of the demo pages that Avada provides to you. This is a great way to get started up and running quickly. This way we can walk before we can run. So at this point, you should have your suggested and required plugins installed and ready to go. All right, so what I'll do based on these choices, because software simply comes down to choice. If you come over here to the left, you'll notice it says install demos. Now, it's also going to caution you to say, hey, don't install this demo on an existing website because it could wipe out a lot of your content. So we're going to take this one step at a time. We're going to click over here. We can preview this if we'd like. This is going to do a preview right from Theme Fusion Avada. It's going to show you what that particular installation is going to look like. And I will take you step by step on how to finesse and how to get the best results from your Avada theme. So based on these choices, we're going to click installation. Now, once again, it says demo content, yada, yada, yada. If you want to read through that, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to say, great, I get it, because Robert is telling us to do this. I'm going to hit OK. So it's going to go ahead and install that content, and I'll come right back. Now, what Avada just did for you is if you go over to your pages, before we installed this demo content, the only page we had here was a sample page that comes with your WordPress installation. The only post we had here was a Hello World post. We're going to go to all pages. So what this is going to do is share with you all the different pages that the Avada theme just put into our WordPress installation, including a blank page, by the way. So we're going to take this one step at a time. I'm going to go to a one-column classic. Recall that we picked the classic installation, and I'm just going to hit the edit menu. Now, here's a nice production technique. I'm using a free plugin, which you can just do, search this yourself. Just go to install plugins, and you want to search for duplicate post. Duplicate post, if you're going to work in the real world, is a great plugin because it enables you to take something, a concept that you already built for you or your client, and simply duplicate the post or page. Therefore, you can just have different versions, version 1, version 2, version 3, that you can share with your client one step at a time. I will share with you in a subsequent video how that works in detail, but I use it all the time, and I highly suggest you do the same thing. Okay. Now, if we click here on Fusion Page Builder, this comes with the installation of Avada. And you'll see in my page builder, I could build any type of pages that I'd like. But before we go further, I want you to walk before you can run. So here's what I want to share with you. I'm going to come up here to Avada. That's the name of my site. I'm in a multi-site environment. Now, everything I'm going to share with you works pretty much the same on a single installation. I happen to be using a multi-site installation, so some of the menu choices up here are slightly different, but everything's going to work exactly the same. So here's what I want to share with you. If I go up here to Avada and view site, this is going to be the home page that was installed when I pick install demo content. Now, part of the reason you're seeing this up here is because they're logged in as the admin. So let me share with you a really powerful technique. Let's say that you don't want to log in, log out, and this is just a basic WordPress production technique. So here's what I want to share with you. If you either right-click on Windows or Control-click pop-up menu on Macintosh, you can open this up in a private window. Chrome calls this incognito. Firefox calls it private window. So I'm just going to click, and I'm going to go to View Site, and I'm going to open this up in a private window. Therefore, you'll get the same experience that a viewer would get not logged in as an admin without logging back out. So it's a great production technique. You can do that with any selection, any window in WordPress. You can open that up in a private window, whether using Chrome or Firefox. So what I want to share with you is these are the pages that were built. And if I scroll down here, you're going to get the experience of the Avada theme one step at a time. Now, you might say, wait a second, we just got started and now you're throwing all this stuff at me. Well, I'm going to share with you how the Avada theme thinks and what it expects from you. So let's do this. Let's go back up to Avada. I'm going to go to Visit Site. I'm going to hold down and open a new tab. So therefore, I'm still logged in as the admin, but I'm going to open up a brand new tab. So here is the front end of my site that was created with my Avada Classic theme installation. All right, now, based on these choices, software simply comes down to choice. We're going to hit Edit Page. And here is how the Avada theme thinks, and here's what it needs from you. Everything you just saw there on that page was presented using the Avada theme. So, once again, I'm going to share with you how it thinks. I'm going to click right here under Default Editor. And what you're going to see, if you're new to WordPress, if you're new to the Avada theme, is a bunch of shortcodes. Now, what is a shortcode? A shortcode is a pre-programmed series of scripts and images and texts that the program software developer, the person who wrote the WordPress theme, has created shortcodes to make your life easier. You can just basically fill in the blanks. Now, you can always identify a shortcode because you'll see it has an opening left bracket and a closing right bracket. That ends that particular shortcode. I'll talk about more of that in a subsequent video. So what's happening on the page, and let's just go back to the page itself. If I hold down the Control key, right click, I'm just going to go to Open Tab Window. So here is the front end of the page that was installed with the Avada theme by default. We pick Classic Installation for demo content. Again, I want you to walk before you could run. More importantly, I want you to think about what's happening right now. So if I click back in here, what you're seeing, because I'm in my default editor, okay, everything you see in here, if I scroll down here one step at a time, mimics exactly what you're seeing on the front end of the page. Now, rather than get overwhelmed and kind of lose your mind so far, what I want to share with you is that even though this looks like confusing code, it's actually simpler than you think. Obviously, this is an image. If I wanted to change the image, I can click right here and edit and change that image. We'll talk about that later. As you scroll down here, you're going to get to different sections of your page. So as an example, if you get a visual snapshot on that, that is the image that's down here at the bottom. So if I scroll down, you're going to see the image appear at the bottom. That's this section right here. Okay, so the advantage of being logged in as the admin, I can go to Edit Page and I can make changes to that. So if you wanted to use this as an idea and swap out your information, it really is child's play on how to do this. Now, since my training is all about proper understanding of the software, I also like to share with you production techniques. Training is all about technique based on experience. So let's say as an example that I want to find visually where this is on the page. I'm going to take this piece of text, I'm going to copy that, Command-C, Control-C, Windows. I'm going to go out to my Avada theme and I'm just going to do a find, and I'm going to find that particular part of the text. And this will tell you that this part of the text visually is what you're editing right here. So as an example, if I go to the front end and you can see the text here, it says Avada is 100% responsive element. So if I come back in here, you will see in that section right here from point A to point B, Avada is a responsive design element. So notice that this is the opening Fusion text, and then down here is the closing Fusion text. Similar to, if you're familiar at all with HTML, HTML is in the left less than symbol, greater than symbol, also known as carets. So the less than symbol, so as an example, if I was to put this in an H1 tag, like so if I did something like H1, that's an opening tag. And here is a closing tag. Well, spelling H1 would certainly help. Okay, so I just want to share with you that this follows the same premise. Here's an opening tag. Here's a closing tag. Now, if it helps you to hit the return key, you can do that as well to see this a little bit clearer. Now, this is the visual setting of the tab setting inside of WordPress. If I was to select text, all you're going to see in here is text, and quite frankly, That can be a little confusing, but as you get more familiar with working with shortcodes, it can really be child's play for you. So once again, I just want to share with you a little technique here. If you want to change different things on your page visually, you can compare that to the front end of your page. So let's go back to that section for responsive design. So I can do a find, paste, and right there's my responsive design. So let's say I want to change it to responsive design 1, 2, 3 tips. Now let me share with you a really cool production technique with WordPress itself. If I hit update right now, of course, that's going to save the changes. And if I come back up here and refresh my page, because I happen to have the page opened up. But let me share with you a production technique. If I didn't have this page opened up, I can simply click here and hit preview changes. Now, as we talked about before, if I hold down the control key for Macintosh, right click for Windows, I can open this up in a private window. I'm using Chrome. If I was in Firefox, it'd be a private window. Chrome uses something called incognito, which shows you the experience without being logged in. So you will see when that page refreshes, if I was to do a find again to find that section and hit the return key, you'll see that it says exactly what I did. Now, notice that this is being printed. Why do you think that's being printed? I don't want to see that age tag. What caused that to happen? Well, let's examine this. Right now, when I changed that, I was in visual mode. If I don't want this to appear, you would have to do that in text mode. So I'd have to click over here to text, select that area, find, change again, return. So I'm looking for the H1 tag. And you'll now see, since I put the H1 tag inside of that text area, that the H1 tag is not showing up there. So I just want to share with you some basic concepts with working with shortcodes in the WordPress environment. So in the next video, we'll go further into understanding the Avada theme. So stay tuned. Now, I don't know when you were a kid if this is how you learned, but this is how I learned things, and I was fascinated by it. Drove my parents nuts, but I would take things apart. The best way to find out how something works is to deconstruct it or take it apart. So as an example, let's say I'm going to scroll down here and I would like to change. I want to make this into my own theme. I want to use some of the elements in here. Obviously, I want to put my own graphics here, my own text, but I kind of like the layout of how this theme is working so far. So here's what I want to do. I want to change this information with my own information inside the theme. So I'm going to come back in here. So here's the front end and here's the back end. So I can just go to the back end and simply do a Command F find, Control F find for Windows, and I'm just going to paste and replace that theme. Now, here's what I suggest you do. I'm going to leave this one alone just where it is. I want to make a copy of this and do my own little thing because I can compare and go back. And it's a great way to learn something. So I'm going to copy this as a new draft. And I'm just going to call this Home Version 2. Okay, and publish that. So therefore, if I totally muck this up, or I don't make mistakes. Actually, sometimes I do. Okay, so you can always go back to that. Now, that was done with a free plugin called Duplicate Post. Simply do a Google search, do a search inside of your Add New Plugin and put the duplicate post in there. It's going to save you a lot of brain damage and a lot of time. So let's go and make those changes. Again, the change I want to make, I want to just go step by step and share with you how I can start making this my own. So I want to take that text. I'm just going to copy it. So when I come back here and do a find and hit the return key, it takes me right there. So I'm just going to replace that with something that makes sense to me. So I'm going to keep the free updates and support. Think, learn, earn, dashboard, video series. Okay. Now again, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to update that. And if I don't want to go back and forth to my front end and refresh the page, just to share with you something we talked about in a previous video, which is kind of overlooked, a lot of people don't pay attention to it, is I want to view this in an incognito page. So again, Control key, Macintosh, right click Windows, I open this up in a private window page. So if I want to go right to that section, because remember I copied it, so I can just do a find, and I can just hit the return key and go right to that section of it right there. You see, I guess I meant to copy and paste the words that we didn't change. I'm searching for the words we didn't change, therefore Think, Learn, Earn Dashboard video series. So that's how simplistic it is to change something that exists. So let's change that to something we want to change it to, like Get My Plugin Now, as an example. So let's close this window. Let's go back here and look for, so I copy the text, so I can just come right in here and paste, and takes me right there to the shortcode. How simple is that? This way you get through all the clutter. You don't have to drive yourself nuts by looking through the code. It's right there. So I'm just going to change that to Get My Training Plugin Now. Okay. Now this is tied to a URL. Now here's a real simple way to find out what that URL is that we need to replace. So I simply click right there. It takes us right to the URL. I'm just going to copy part of this. I don't have to copy the whole thing. I'll just copy part of it. I'll copy that. I'll go back to my theme and I'll paste, copy, and paste. So right there, I just need to change this with what I want to change it to. So we're going to change it to a little bit of self-promotion here. We're going to change it to thinklearnearn.com. I won't get anything else. I'll just change it to that. So if I come up here and I update those changes, always important to make a change, save a change. Good habit to get into. So let's go back to preview changes again, or of course I can just refresh this page because I already have the page open, so I can just refresh that page. So if I refresh this page right now, you will see, if I scroll down to the bottom, Get My Training Plugin Free. Get My Training Plugin Now, I should say. So if I click there, that's going to take me, actually, did I not, I'm not paying attention here. I probably didn't fill in the actual address here properly. Well, actually, I guess it should save the changes. I think I might have hit update too soon. But here's another way to test that before you actually test it. If you put your cursor over here, you'll see down on the bottom left that it does want to go to the correct website. So Get My Training Plugin Now. I click there. That takes me right to my site. Now, of course, if you want to open this up in a separate window, which it does, then that's just a blank window, and that's already inside of the code. So step by step, you can go through this and just make changes to what you already have in here. Again, if you're not sure how to change an existing theme, just find that piece of text that you're looking for. So as an example, this is a short code for the Avada that's really not going to help you because this is going to tell you their users. Okay, so you can change anything in here just going by step, but endless possibilities. Let's do this one more. So I'm going to search for this line of text. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back in here to my theme. I'm going to find, Command F, find, paste, and right there. So I can change that into anything I want to. So in the next video, I will share with you a very simple way to swap out images. Now, we're going to do a lot more with this, but I just want to share with you how simple it is to make changes to your shortcode without really knowing much about the shortcode in general. We'll talk about more how shortcode is constructed in a subsequent video. So I will share with you how to swap out images in a very simplistic way in the next video. So stay tuned.